Today on Mysterious Morsels, we're talking about witches. So many witches. So many witches. So much to unpack. And yet, the simplest of things, right? I mean, you think Salem witch trial, at least I do. And then you think Wicked, because that's all that's in anybody's face right now. And, of course, I love the Broadway show. I love Wizard of Oz. I love the lore behind that. I think that's really cool, how they have the good witch and the bad witch. And that's definitely a thing right now. You have, movies like Blair Witch. You have, just the idea of, like, old school Black Cat and Witchy Hat. It's just amazing all the different witchy things that there are out there. And it's concerning because, again, some of the simplest things are the creepiest things. Witches, they I'll say were real in the sense that they were just innocents and people that used home remedies and were basically a bunch of women or mommy types that got together and discussed things and tried to make, they would call it a potion, but tried to put together like a homeopathic remedy. And then all of a sudden, if you were caught doing this or were cooking up something that in a cauldron, well, you were obviously evil and you must be destroyed, and then of course if you were redheaded, forget it, or if you were thought to be on the fringe of society in any way, then double forget it. You're definitely getting put into a questioning situation and probably killed. So it's weird to me how like this puritanical society shows up in 1620 in Massachusetts and they're all supposedly about God and good things, and yet they would turn on a subset of people within their own community. So it's double creepy because there's a lot of darkness to the backstory because they were real. It wasn't necessarily witch like fly through the air like they make it out to be movies and such, but you had legitimate people that maybe just knew different things or had drawn from backgrounds that they knew for something as simple as a remedy or for a cold or maybe how to help a crop grow or get rid of some sort of illness or something, and all of a sudden something that was meant for good gets looked at in a sideways or evil way, and that shouldn't have been, and then they're persecuted for it. And it just becomes this snowball effect of everyone like that must be destroyed. So really bad mob mentality. And that's where, things start to go south. And then you start to see terms like coven and, people kind of getting together for maybe like the dark magic kind of a thing. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people that had bad intentions, but from that early point, I don't think that was the case. I don't think that there was ever any malintent, or malignance to the origin story of what we now have come to know as witches. I think they kind of pushed a bunch of really good people into a corner, and then they sort of rebelled and revolted. Like, fine, you're gonna push me out or cast me out or tell me I'm bad, then okay, fine, then I'll learn spells and I'll make things difficult for you. Not to say that they could suddenly fly on a broom or that they could whip up an Eye of Newt potion in a cauldron, but they would at least, I'll say, kind of argue back or fight back as a collective, and that's kind of how the backstory was born. So it's some of it's campy, and funny in terms of the basic, black outfit with the broom, and and again, if you even just watching Wicked and reading the Frank L. Baum books, like how they are portrayed, it was very cool, like to have a different backstory than you would normally think of, and that there was the girl didn't want, or here, wear this kind of a thing, try that on, and it all became sort of the outfit, and even the bit about the water in the bucket, not true, but accepted, and once you tell a lie or a rumor enough, then the lie becomes the truth and people don't question it. So that's really what I think happened with witches in general. And you have your happy little witchy witches, your little black cat smiley little feet underneath the door at Halloween time, and then you have your incredibly spooky witches that maybe didn't get along so well got annoyed about the fringe society situation and fought back and tried to be, aggressive and maybe do some damage to the people that were coming after them. Not that I could say I could blame them because I get it, but I specifically as far as negative stuff, I always am drawn to Blair Witch, and not so much just because the movie was great because it was simple and it was kind of well, okay, if you sat in the front row, you probably threw up because it was very bouncy, but it was brilliant in the sense that it was simple and it was raw fear and meant to be like a documentary, and it's just less was more. Less was much, much more. You are left to draw a lot of conclusions. Your mind plays tricks on you. It's cold, it's night, it's, fall time of the year. They're poking around in a genre they probably shouldn't have, and it's sort of that leave well enough alone situation. Like, that's great if you want to investigate some things and ask some people, but to actually camp out in the woods, what are you thinking? Really bad idea. You don't poke the bear. And, well, nobody came home to tell the story. Now, was it fictional? Yes. Did they play it as a true documentary? Yes. And again, brilliant in that regard. So it was kind of a new idea in the middle of an old trope. So gotta love that because it's sort of like everything's already been done, and now of course that's been done. But when that was done, it was a new spin on an old idea, and it was cool, and it really worked. And not so much with Blair Witch 2, not gonna lie. Could have left it alone at the original, but 3 wasn't much better. They tried to go back to the first idea, but again, maybe not for the sequels. But the first original Blair Witch was definitely the way to go. Now, again, not just from a movie perspective, but the idea of the real, if you will, Blair Witch. There was like a lady, I believe it was Burkittsville, Maryland, which they eventually changed the name. It was Blair, and they changed it to Burkittsville because so many people got freaked out about the name Blair. Now, here's the deal. There was a woman. She existed. Rough lady, rough backstory, lots of ins and outs. Was known to have a reputation to be difficult, to say the least. Kind of an outskirted sort of individual. Definitely was around a lot of kids, not in a positive, happy, want some cookies way, but more like a stand in the corner and you might not be alive in the end way. It kind of makes you think of like the witch stuff in Hansel and Gretel in the oven situation. At least that's the vibe I felt, and that's kind of the picture they were painting. But she was also responsible, allegedly, for hurting, maiming, and unaliving a lot of grown men who were either in the area doing work at the time, or that went out to seek her out to find out what happened to these kids. So there really was like a story of a person who truly existed, that was a tough cookie, who was in this area, and there were a lot of inexplicable deaths and strange occurrences that happened, and there was a lot of incantations and chanting and weird noises and these little things that she would make. I don't even know how you describe them. In the movie, it looked like twine, but in reality, I don't know what she did. But it was almost like as if you did a glyph of a person, I guess, like through tree branches or hemp or something like that. Like she would hang these little things everywhere and have them all over the ground. And just a lot of, I would say, spells, but like who knows? And again, real human doing bad things, not necessarily that some third party or secret supernatural entity is going to come along and hurt the men or hurt the kids or hurt the people or hurt whomever, but she could have just straight up hurt them and that was that. But there was a lot of ritual to it, so it's not per se the ritual or that she actually summon something to come, like dark force to like come hurt them or whatever. She was the one like actually hurting them. Supposedly she made her victims like face the wall, and then that way they didn't know like when she was like actually coming after them or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, she could have done a million different things to hurt people. But so I don't know what her like method of choice was, or if there were weapons involved or not. But the thing that kills me is that there were people that would, it's just sort of like they got caught and they wouldn't run away. So maybe they were just terrified and petrified with fear, so they didn't leave, which is possible. But you would think like older woman, you're a kid, or a grown man, like they couldn't have run away or overpowered her. So that's sort of like part of what makes this this backstory like just steep in fear, and curiosity, because okay, you're defying physics now, so not gravity. You thought I was going to say that, I know, but no, I wasn't saying that. No, but it really just, how did they not just escape or leave or run away? How could they not outrun her, or how could they not I'll say like outsmart her or outwit her as far as physicality and just anticipating the maneuver. It's an old woman coming to chase you. I don't know. They were just paralyzed with fear and never left. Did she have some sort of hold on them? I mean, maybe you could argue brainwashing, but in reality, I don't know that there was ever a supernatural entity truly involved, as much as whatever her dark connection was to whatever that nasty idea was, that she was, this person that had been wrong somehow and was going to try and right it. But it seemed like righting things took people away. This was a unique case, at least that I'm aware of. Everywhere else where I've talked to, or talked about, or, heard about, or whatever, has not really been an issue, with any kind of witch story, again, except for Salem, which was when it originally happened back in the 1600s. And it's neat to go up there. If you haven't, definitely go up there, because they have a witch museum, and they have like a little there's like a little show they put on. There's like a wax museum up there, quite a few things, and there's a lot of stuff. And there's Boris Karloff and all the little animatronics and spooky things, and Dracula's castle. I mean, every little trope you could think of is up there. But there's quite a lot of Salem info and witchy things that you can go and do and watch or observe or read about, and historical things, and different inns and stuff that you could stay in that were allegedly they would like hide people that they wanted to protect and stuff. And remember, witches can do well as well. So you could people that would be helpful, or that would come get you out of a bad situation, or really try to help you. So it doesn't always mean witch, evil, dark, scary, but it can take on either presence, if you will. And these days, it's definitely something that you want to see. So tell me in the comments, what is your favorite witch? Maybe it's Bewitched is your favorite, or something light like that, or was it something darker like Blair Witch, or do you like an idea of like Hocus Pocus, and I'll say the Disney of it all, where it's supposed to be campy and fun. What's your favorite which character or situation? Is it something like Glinda or Elphaba and Wicked, which is certainly a big kick up resurgence lately, or was it something else? Love to know. Again, during this time of year, we try and be as spooky as we can for Mysterious Morsels, so scare that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, so hopefully you enjoy more content like this, and you'll see some soon, and toward the end, maybe give a click to another video that we have up. And again, I've authored a couple books, so if you like anything in the superstitious realm, or in the things that make you go, there's Ominous Tales and Seven Dreams out there just waiting for you to pick up your copy and check it out. Let me know what you think about it. I would appreciate it. Feedback is always welcome. So enjoy your crisper weather coming your way, and we'll be back with you with more content on Mysterious Morsels very soon.